What is up, everyone? I wanted to react to the game that we had happen last night. The New York Knicks versus the Charlotte Hornets, in which our New York Knicks lost this game by a score of 114 to 103. Now, the common thing amongst all social media platforms and sports networks today is going to be the New York Knicks aren't a good team. They are pretenders. They are not a finals team. This is a team that can't go anywhere, and they're going to get bounced early, right? And this is consistent with the Knicks for clicks thing that they have been doing for the last couple of seasons. Now, I will say this because there are a lot of narratives, right? A lot of things. We look at the comments that Stephen A. Smith had on MIKAL Bridges. We look at the lack of effort, another slow start from our New York Knicks. I think multiple things can be true, but I think context is important. You see, had the New York Knicks beat the Charlotte Hornets, it would have just been, well, Charlotte Hornets are a fun team to watch. And the Knicks would have gotten no credit. The Knicks have beaten playoff teams this whole season, and some they have beat by double digits, but no one says anything. But the minute a team beats us, they get elevated into their contenders. Listen, man, context, once again, is important. The Charlotte Hornets are trying to get into the playing game. They are trying to make the playoffs for the first time in years. And the New York Knicks understand that there are 9 games left. Now, this is not an excuse. Obviously, we want them to send a message. We wanted this last year with Detroit. That one game that we played against them in Detroit, in which we saw P.J. Tucker play, and Tom Thibodeau really just mailed that game in. But we wanted them to win that game, to let them know, hey, listen, this is what you're going to face in the postseason. And that didn't happen last night. The Knicks were out-rebounded by, I think the margin was plus 18, plus 19. I got to check. The Charlotte Hornets has 7+ more offensive rebounds, an area in which the Knicks usually dominate. What I saw yesterday was a team that simply the Charlotte Hornets wanted the game more. They gave out more energy, more effort, and the Knicks were a team that, hey, listen, there's 9 games left. And this is not an excuse, right? Because obviously you want them to win, but they're just like, man, we're just trying to get to the postseason. We'll dive for those 50-50 balls. We'll ramp up the intensity when it matters. Again, I've been consistent with this. Did the Knicks earn this right? Absolutely not. They have not won anything big. But context, once again, I know I've said this now 3 times, is important. The New York Knicks know what type of time this is. They know that this year is it. They know that. The roster suggests that. The moves that Leon Rose did suggest that. They know what time it is. And they also understand that if they don't get the job done, 3 of the starting 5 are going to be up on out of here. They know that. So again, when I look at yesterday's game, what I saw was a younger, hungrier team that just out-rebounded us. I didn't think that the Knicks played a great offensive game, right? Statistically, they shot the ball pretty well, right? I did think that they left some things out on the floor, but again, where I have the issue, right? Yesterday, the New York Knicks shot only 9 free throws. Now, when you have guys like Jalen Brunson, OG Anunoby, and Karl-Anthony Towns that like to drive to the basket, when you only see 9 free throws compared to the Charlotte Hornets' 20 attempted free throws, 11 plus more on that difference at a home game, it is very questionable with guys that drive into the rack and get hit a lot. Again, I don't want to make excuses, but when you look at those numbers, things can be very skewed. Yes, the Knicks didn't have the energy and intensity that they needed. They didn't start off the right way. But when you look at those numbers, right, and these are for my numbers people, because the eye test shows something different in the numbers. Obviously, you just have to watch the game to see. But when you look at the numbers, they're pretty consistent with what happened yesterday. And when you see the free throw discrepancy, the Knicks lost the game by 11 points. 11 more free throws on the opposition. And they out-rebounded them. So they have more possessions. That's what it comes down to. And the things that are very questionable with our New York Knicks, right? Red flags going into the postseason, because we understand this is the last stretch, man. We saw this last year. The Knicks towards the end of the year, they lost some games that they should have won. We saw how this turned out already. We're not going to contest this. We all saw how this turned out. They mailed in the last couple of games of the season last year, and the most important thing was getting Jalen Brunson back healthy to get into a rhythm going into the postseason. This year seems like we're on that road trip again. Here we go. We have to face teams that are good teams on the road. And we're towards the end of the year, and this Knicks team is just trying to get to the playoffs healthy. The energy suggests that. The effort suggests that. Have they earned that? Once again, no. But I'm going to stay consistent with this is exactly how the Cleveland Cavaliers used to look under LeBron James, in which they went on those runs to the finals, and they were just coasting through the regular season. Again, 4th time now, context is important. But the things that we have to talk about following this game, which I believe are very important, is I've been consistent with this. I've had this take since last year. And It just seems like, in my opinion, that Mikal Bridges, even though I love him as a player, I think he's a very talented defender. I believe that he's a very good player in the NBA. I will never contest that. Did they overpay on the trade for him? Absolutely. And this is not in any way to degrade Mikal Bridges. But I do believe in this starting five, the reason why he hasn't lived up to those type of expectations, right, because he did get that big contract, is simply because there are too many mouths to feed on that starting five. And the roles are not defined. OG Anunoby wanted an increased role. That's why he came back to the New York Knicks. The Knicks traded for Karl-Anthony Towns. Karl-Anthony Towns needs his touches. In my opinion, he is the most talented offensive player, scorer that we have in our team. Jalen Brunson is phenomenal. Great footwork, an amazing scorer. But his ceiling is limited going up against taller, athletic guys. And Karl-Anthony Towns has the size advantage. So that's where he gets the advantage for me. But when you look at this team, you have a ball-dominant point guard who likes to score in Jalen Brunson. You have a guy, Karl-Anthony Towns, who needs his touches early in the game to get into the flow of the game to get it going. Then you have OG Anunoby, a guy who made it abundantly clear that he wanted an increased role. So just by default, Mikal Bridges has to go to the fourth option on the totem pole. And this is coming from a guy who was the #1 option in Brooklyn. And we all know how this works. When you're a scorer, you need to see the ball go through the net a couple of times. Then you start feeling yourself. You get the shooter's bounce. That's what Stephon Marbury calls it. And Mikal Bridges struggles consistently with getting into the flow of the game because he doesn't know when to take his shots. In my opinion, I said this last year, and I'm going to stay true to this. When the Golden State Warriors were on their run and they were doing their thing out there with Steph Curry and Klay Thompson, we forget about the pieces that help make all of that come together. That first championship run had who? Andre Iguodala and Sean Livingston, Harrison Barnes, Andrew Bogut, and Draymond Green. They even had Leandro Barbosa coming off the bench. Why is that important? Because Andre Iguodala was an absolute stud. He was a beast at Denver. Before that, Philadelphia, where he was the lead guy. And he went to Golden State, and they did what? They put him as the sixth man coming off the bench. I firmly believe that Mikal Bridges, the reason why we're not getting the best out of him is because he cannot get into the flow of the game. Now, how can we help him out? I believe that the New York Knicks, and they're not going to do this right now, they need to make the decision that the Warriors made with Andre Iguodala and have him come off the bench to run the second unit, be the lead guy in the second unit, but close out the game with the starters in that small ball lineup, which, as all of you remember, they had Draymond at the 5. I believe that if you had Mikal Bridges coming off of the bench, in which he didn't have to worry about anybody else having to score, and he could just get to his bag and get into the flow of the game, we will see a much better Mikal Bridges, and I'm going to stand on that. If you put him in the second unit, hypothetically, with a guy like Jordan Clarkson, Mitchell Robinson, and you have Tyler Kolek or Jose Alvarado running the point with, let's say, Shamet or Diawara in there, you have the spacing, you have guys who can hit the open three around you, you have scorers, but Mikal Bridges can get to his bag much easier than when you have guys like Jalen Brunson, OG Anunoby, Karl-Anthony Towns, who need the rock. So again, I'm going to stand on this. I believe that the decision needed to be made last year to bench Mikal Bridges, put him as the sixth man, and elevate Deuce McBride to the starting lineup. Why? Well, the reason for that is because you would have a true 5-out lineup. You would get the perimeter defending that you need from Deuce McBride, that on-ball pressure, but you get the ability from a shooting aspect to get a guy wide open, getting those corner threes, those elbow threes, a guy who is a marksman from three. Deuce McBride was shooting well over 40% from three this year. And we all know Deuce McBride has always been a really good three-point shooter. You now add him in with this current starting 5, you could play a true 5-out, and you have guys who can hit threes, right? But you have, in my opinion, a better three-point shooting lineup to start the game. So when they give up those open looks to Mikal Bridges, who hasn't seen one go through the hoop yet, but he gets an open look. He hasn't even seen the ball go through the net, and we're having him take open shots. He is not a guy who's supposed to be relegated to a role of just catch and shoot from the 3. Deuce McBride can do that. Again, going back to what they spoke about following last season, the roles being defined. And I believe that this is a role issue. I believe that if you elevated Deuce McBride to the starting lineup, right, when he comes back, that you would have the three-point shooting, right, a guy who that is his only job, who can also defend. But then when Mikal Bridges comes in with the second unit, he can be him. And we will get the MIKAL Bridges that we all have been looking for. And when he gets into the flow of the game, what happens next? Now he's in the flow, and now he gets to close out the game in rhythm. This is why I was very adamant last year on him being the sixth man. It is not because I don't believe that he is not a great player. No. It is simply because there are too many mouths to feed on this starting five. There is a reason why we keep getting off to these slow starts. Is it a lack of energy? Is it a lack of effort? Are we entitled? All of these things. Multiple things can be true, right? But when you have a starting lineup in which you have Josh Hart in this unit, you already know Josh Hart is going to be hit or miss from three. And when he is not confident from three, teams know that. That's why they put their wing on Cat, if they're big on Hart, to have them play basically in the middle of the paint. We all know this already. They're not trying to hide anything. But again, context is important. For the fifth time now. The New York Knicks, in my opinion, there are red flags. But I'm not going to sit here and say that there is not a process that needs to be had to win a championship. The Knicks have paid their dues. And in theory, this should be the best chance that they're going to have to go all of the way. We know what time it is. It's been abundantly clear with the trade rumors that was swindling all around the NBA this year. The Knicks players know what time it is. Are they unhappy that their names were involved in trade discussions? Maybe that's why you're getting the effort, the lack of energy that you're getting now. But I do think at some point, when referring to not only this team, but the slow starts, the team chemistry, why is it our guys are not clicking? This is now 2 seasons together. Why are we not clicking? Why isn't there a clear defined two-man game between JB and Cat? What are we not doing off the court to make this work? I'm not going to lie to you. I'm going to be in the opposite of everybody else on this. I believe that Leon Rose needs to call a team meeting, needs to sit all of them down and tell them straight up, this is the best chance we're going to have in years to get to the finals this year. We have the roster in play. And if y'all don't get it done, I don't care what issues y'all have amongst one another or what energy issues y'all have or you not liking this person. 3 of the 5 y'all getting the heck up on out of here if y'all don't get the job done. Y'all like the little amenities that come with living in New York? Y'all like all of the stuff that you have? Figure this shit out. Or the 3 of y'all, 3 of the 5 are getting up on out of here. It's that simple. You put that pressure on them. Men that have children, that know what type of time it is, that know they don't want to leave their situation. Watch how quickly all those issues that they have with team chemistry clear up. Watch. But again, we don't have a coach that's putting that pressure on them. And Leon Rose, for whatever reason, has not done that yet. Because a lot of these issues are effort. It's not like a tremendous dip-off in talent. It's literally effort. Yesterday, you lost the game on effort. We lose to Detroit on effort. Come on, man. This is New York basketball, dog. We don't want that finesse BS. We don't want that. You look at St. John's. St. John's plays like a New York team. Gritty, in your face, rebounding. Man, y'all not getting nothing easy off. Grinding, that's a New York team. When I watch St. John's play, I see a New York team. I have not felt that way watching the New York Knicks since that 2023 team. I'm just going to be honest. It's a mentality. It's a toughness thing. You got to be able to get in the grind. You have to be able to get in the trenches and say, nah, fam, we're not doing that. And it's a sense of pride. This is New York, man. You can't come over here losing games to the Charlotte Hornets on effort. Come on, man. But again, right, we don't want to overreact. It's just me venting. But it is a regular season game. Knicks are trying to get to the postseason healthy. I'm going to reserve my crash outs for the postseason. This team could get bounced early, and this team could win the finals. There's really that high of highs and that low of lows with this team. But ultimately, we all know what's going to happen. They don't get to the finals this year. Karl-Anthony Towns, MIKAL Bridges, and OG Anunoby are getting up and out of New York, and Giannis is going to be a Knick. Now, do I agree with that? No. I believe I would make a different move. But again, it is what it is. Let me know in the comments what you think about yesterday's game with our New York Knicks. Let me know what you think about the team overall. Am I telling you guys facts about the MIKAL Bridges needing to go to the bench? Would you want to see a Landry Shamet or a Deuce McBride get elevated into that starting lineup? Let me know in the comments what you guys think. I believe that the starting five needs a spark. Mike Brown was a part of those Golden State Warrior teams. He knows the importance of what Andre Iguodala meant to that team. And I'm just going to be honest, I think Mikal Bridges needs to come off the bench as the sixth man. And I think we will get the best version of Mikal Bridges. But with that being said, don't forget to like, comment, and sub to the channel. Check off the bell notification icon to become part of the family. Catch you guys on the next one.